So last year was a very interesting year because Metropolis was looking to do an IPO in 1920. So really we spent all of 1819 really preparing the company for a public issue. And we were very happy that we were successful enough to be able to do a good IPO in April 1920, which of course required about 10 months of work the year before. Going public is a big step, mostly in the mindset of the company, and you really are now allowing many other stakeholders, external stakeholders, to participate even more in the value growth of your company, and that means a huge responsibility.
Most critical challenge that I faced last year is that as part of being the lead independent director on one of the companies that was going through a once in a lifetime takeover, the role that the board had to play, and specifically the role that independent directors had to play in balancing the needs of all the stakeholders. I think that was possibly the most difficult thing that I've faced in my entire career.
CRISIL operates in several markets around the world, and we live in times where policy changes, the pace of regulatory change has gone up tremendously. This has meant that our customers need to operate differently, their business models are being tested, and of course their needs are changing as well. This has required CRISIL to bring about dramatic change in the solutions, in the insights, the data and analytics with which we serve our customers. And this, in my opinion, has been the biggest challenge, the biggest change, more so because the ask from a regulation perspective has been huge as well.
This has been a very good year. As all of you know, it has actually been an exemplary year. But toward the end of the year, there were signs that a recession is creeping. And I think that the way we decided to address that is to fundamentally change the way the company is structured. We made our company leaner, we made it more agile. We know that we're going to face a lot of technology issues going forward.
Well, I'm 1.5 years into this new role, and I'm heading a startup in India's largest company. So first of all, interpreting the brief, the massive brief that I've got, and putting an implementation plan around it was the biggest challenge I faced. We've broken up what we're going to do into 3 phases: crawl, walk and run. So I'm done with the crawling. I'm walking right now, and I'm really looking forward to running.
So I'm someone who looks at every challenge as an opportunity. In a fast-paced environment and high-growth company like ours, you need to constantly innovate each and every day so that you're not left out.
Last year we really started scaling up, and we've been a very intimate, smaller production house for a long time, and as our global footprint grew with our content, there are so many opportunities in the business today. So I think one of my biggest challenge was the process of scaling up and working with newer colleagues and building a larger organization.
So last year, I'd say the year before, we had more critical challenges like GST and demonetization, although they didn't really impact our business for the medium or long term. But last year was a fantastic year for us.
The last 1 year in the healthcare sector actually has been pretty interesting, with quite a few changes that have happened from a regulatory perspective, from a pricing perspective, which has impacted quite a few of the providers. Of course, while we are not directly impacted, but as you work with them, you realize the pressure that this whole sector is under. So that is something which has certainly kept me, if not awake, anxious a bit about what is the implication for the rest of the sector. There have been, while this sector is, while the healthcare sector is supposed to be exempt from tax, but there have been certain issues that have been brought up in that sector from that angle also. So some of these regulatory aspects which are changing have been certainly a matter of concern for us to keep an eye on. Secondly, the last 6 months, of course, with the economy being a little depressed, I have seen that there has been an impact on the healthcare sector also to some extent for sure.
I'm in the consumer business, and customers are the main pillar of our business. I think the biggest challenge is keeping pace with the changing preferences of the customer and even their mode of using banking. So I think in a very fast changing digital world, customer preferences are changing so fast. So to be able to be ahead of the curve and anticipate what customers want and ensure that your products offer it in the medium that they offer it is, I think, the biggest challenge. So innovation and change, in my mind, are the biggest challenge in a consumer business given the environment.
It was actually a paradox because we listed as a very successful company. So after such a high, what next was really what we were grappling with. And so the challenge for me was to re-energize my team. And then we came out with a blockbuster product like Sanchay Plus. So it was a big wow again, and that's what made this year very, very memorable.
I don't think life goes without challenges, and I look at them more as stepping stones, a reason to pivot, a reason to evolve, a reason to grow. And every challenge actually has been built by me, unfortunately, because the only thing that I can think of and compete with is myself. And therefore, when you compete yourself, you create your own challenges.
So I think one challenge is to constantly keep up to date with the business and what are the challenges that business face, because as a business lawyer, one certainly needs to understand business very well. You cannot give solutions. Ultimately, we are all in the business of giving solutions, and you cannot give a solution that is acceptable to business and which is within the four corners of law unless you have truly understood the business of the client that you are advising. That's one challenge, constantly keeping up to date.